Welcome back to B&B Studios, where Berner and Barthy will talk all things happening in the Central Coast Rugby competition. Good chat, good footy, good fun. Take it away, boys.
Thanks, Tomo. Welcome back, everybody. We are back in studio today for another episode of the B&B Unplugging Central Coast Rugby podcast. Barthy, how you going?
Mate, I'm going outstanding. Going really well. Bit cold this week, though. Bit chilly.
It is.
Not a big fan of the cold, but
no.
I had an absolutely outstanding day on Saturday. What a great day of the rugby it was. The beaches, Battle of the Beaches, Seaside Clash, which was awesome. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But, mate, I'm just really happy to be sorting out, after what's been a very difficult start to the season, sorting out these audio issues, mate. It's been great, and we've finally worked it out. We just
need to be together.
Anything remote. Finally worked it out.
Anything remote does not work at all. Yeah. Awesome weekend of rugby. Some really interesting results as well that we'll touch on. Very interesting, in particular with the women's a top game there. So we'll touch on that. We'll talk about the juniors later on. Really interesting ref swap that happened on the weekend, which was awesome. Yeah. So good to sort of see, and just how well they were accepted into the community from what we saw, and obviously what we from more reports as well. So ready to get into it?
Let's do it, pal.
Well, let's get into the results of the round. Thanks to Gus and the team at Erina Podiatry. Are you going first, or am I going first?
I guess I'll go first. I'm set up, ready to go.
Because you're prepared.
Yeah,
let's try that.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's start with a couple of floggings, and we'll start with the biggest flogging, and that was to your Warboy Lions, pal.
My Lions.
Yeah, your Lions. And you know what's a real sad thing? I was thinking about this on the weekend. It's really sad that Warboy couldn't get their shit together and find the line off shield, because it was the line off match on the weekend.
Why would you get it together when you're just going to lose it? So hold on to it, wouldn't you? I agree with you.
Anyway.
You might need to have the line off shield 2.0.
Well, Hornsby gave them an absolute
pumped them.
Yeah, 76 points to 7. 11 tries, an absolute schooling there down at the Rock. And just want to give a quick shout out to Mr. Anderson. Anyone feel free to jump on the podcast and tell me
Anderson.
What movie is that from? But Nicholas Anderson scoring 5 tries. How good. Outstanding. So 11 tries. Hunter Bird, the super boot, he kicked 9. So outstanding performance. Well done, Hornsby. And I'll tell you what, that for and against really helps them when it comes to the ladder.
Yep. And
hopefully pushing for that 5th spot is obviously what they've got their eyes on. So great performance by the Hornsby Lions. Well done, gentlemen.
Yeah, it was a big second half by him. I think it was 20-7 or somewhere around there in the first half. And then Max Edwards, who's been a shining light for Warboy this year, broke his hand. So he was off. Yeah, so he was off. I think he broke it early on in the game, but played the first half, but didn't play the second half, and also lost their 10 in Corby Delaforce. And Hornsby just way too good.
That's wrong.
Yep.
Good thing to see no cards either, so a nice clean match. So congratulations all involved, and well done to the Hornsby Lions. Let's get on to the second flogging of the weekend, and that is the Gosford Red Devils, 75 points to 7. Big victory over the Lake Macquarie Roos, who are doing it a little bit tough. These heavy defeats are starting to take their toll a little bit. Not sure whether through injury or just the travel factor, but we'll touch on that shortly. 75 to 7. I want to give a shout out to the Evergreen, Joel Wagner, scoring a triple. How good for Wags, getting 3. And Ben Shelley kicking 10 from 11, I believe. So outstanding by the Gosford Red Devils. Always good to see them doing well.
And what was my tip that would happen in that game, mate? Who get off the nudie?
Well, disappointingly for everyone, including himself.
Yeah.
So well done to Gosford Red Devils, 75 to 7. Also, I just want to take this opportunity to echo some words that Ben Shelley sent through.
Yep.
Please fill in the gaps that I missed, Berner. But Ben Shelley just wanted to give a shout out to the Lake Macquarie Roos. He said they only came down with sort of 25 maybe odd players. He said they were absolutely outstanding. They tried their guts out, and he obviously most of the players turned around and run back on the field again to play first grade. Not ideal, we know that, but it's outstanding commitment by the Lake Macquarie Roos, the players, to ensure that they don't forfeit, and they're being doing their best to be competitive. So from your opposition on the weekend, a big well done and thank you and congratulations to the Lake Macquarie Roos. So,
and that's pretty consistent with what other clubs are saying about Lake Macquarie as well.
Yeah.
That they're having an awesome time when they go there. That the hospitality is amazing, but also when Lake Macquarie come to them, they just don't stop. The results aren't going their way on the scoreboard. We know that, but they're playing rugby in the right spirit, and they can see the dedication on those guys. And a lot of us have been there before, and you think, well, you see them struggling, and you go, man, I don't want to be where you are, but you're trying every single week and turn up, and you can't help but respect that.
And Ben Shelley in his text said we were in the same boat last year.
Exactly. Ben would be looking at them going, we were you guys.
Yeah,
exactly the same thing. So.
Good thing for everyone to remember.
And thanks for Ben for writing in as well.
All right, so let's move on to our two more competitive matches. This is a game we thought could have gone either way. The Razorbacks hosting the Warnervale Wildcats. I won't tell you the score just yet, but what I will tell you, it was 4 tries apiece. 2 conversions apiece. What do you think the difference was again? There's a bit of a unfortunately, a bit of a theme going here, Berner.
Wouldn't be penalty goals, would it?
Yeah, look, unfortunately, 4 tries apiece. One of those tries was a penalty try, and a couple of penalty goals to Ryan Fenning being the difference for the Razorbacks. Razorbacks sneaking home 35 points to 27. And gee whiz, we've spoken about it before. Wildcats, they're there or thereabouts as soon as they can just start, fixing their discipline. It'll be all the better for them and all the more danger for everyone else in the competition.
Well, it's just closing out those tight games because they've lost that game against the top or the 4 above them now. So they've lost that, against Gosford, against the Voca, against Terrigal, and against the Razorbacks. They've gone down in tight ones. They haven't been pumped by any means, which has happened in previous years. They are right there.
Yeah.
They just can't close out the game, and it suggests, the discipline's the area that's letting them down through their yellow cards and through the penalties.
But also, I'm not suggesting foul play or anything like that. Yeah. Just obviously, adhering to what the referee's saying. Hands off it, or whatever the case may be. So Razorbacks just quietly going about their business.
They might not be quiet after.
Yeah, well, we'll check out the ladder shortly.
Yeah.
And then we moved on to the Battle of the Beaches. The Terrigal Trojans, undefeated, head off to the Avoca Beach Sharks home ground, Hazlitt Oval. Avoca Beach undefeated also in what is a traditional rivalry on the Central Coast and one of the best going around, the Battle of the Beaches. And, mate, what an absolutely outstanding day. First of all, weather perfect. Good spirit, good crowd. How'd you see it?
First of all, I suppose being a player for many years, I never got to really see the Battle of the Beaches, the whole, the Terrigal versus Avoca thing. Playing for where we never had rivalries. I think we always say the rivalry is against Terrigal, but I believe that everybody's rivalry is against Terrigal.
Get in the queue, mate.
Yep. So there was never any rivalry like the Battle of the Beaches that we sort of that we had. So when we started doing the potty and I got to obviously go out and experience these games, you just see the tribalism between, 2 neighboring towns going at it, and obviously how long that has stretched back. You're very well aware of that. And just saying, I suppose looking around Hazlitt and just see every part of the outfield has somebody on it. Doesn't matter where it is, if it's on the sideline, if it's behind the dead ball line, everybody is there. And just seeing that hill, seeing everybody over at Avoca, celebrating the old boys' day. And, from what we heard, just no shit on the sidelines. Like it was just all, it was all
there was
fun.
Plenty of dribble from the sidelines.
Plenty of dribble, but there was no abuse towards referees or anything like that. It was just such a good time. And the atmosphere was awesome that, it doesn't matter. There was always oohs and ahs throughout the whole game because it was such a competitive game. That was such a great showcase of what Central Coast Rugby has to offer and has to offer the community, where you could go down. It was just such a spectacle. I can't wait for it to happen again later in the year. But mate, as a game, it was an outstanding game. It was competitive throughout in every moment and every breakdown, every line out, every scrum. But what was most entertaining for me was the kicking duel. I haven't seen a kicking duel like that for a long time.
Yeah,
where you've just got Dankit that'd kick, and then you got Briggs that kicks, and then you got Jaden Woolley that kicks, And then you've got Mitch McGrath that gets it. Like, it's just so many key players who are so skilled in that area.
Yeah.
And it was just sort of, it was awesome just to watch, obviously, from, sitting or standing up there and being able to see it from that vantage point as well was just a really good day. But, in the end, mate, I think Terrigal let themselves down massively inside of Avoca's 22. We made jokes about it, to the point that we said Terrigal had a phobia, of Avoca's 22, because every time they got inside it, they just dropped the ball. And it was almost became also comical at the end.
But also, they either dropped it or got it just taken off them.
Yes. There's so many times where it got to the point where you hold on to the ball, like what you do with in sort of juniors. But yeah, just seeing them run up and just seeing players just basically target the ball. But even just, it was good defense. It's hats off to Avoca. It's not just Terrigal being poor. It was Avoca.
Yeah,
they were
100%.
clinical with what they were doing in their defense, and just dislodged the ball or stole the ball right away from them. There was so many opportunities that Terrigal had that, and Avoca just kept turning them away. So, credit to Avoca, and the game got down to Avoca in front by 1 point. And then the scenes of Alex Halls going over at the very end, the hill erupting, that is something that just won't forget. That's one of the things that goes down in the folklore.
It's a great day.
Yeah,
Halls will remember that for as long as he lives. It's a great day for him. I got a good opportunity to have a chat with him afterwards. He's very humble and very thankful of the team and the effort they put in. I had a good chat with a variety of different people, a few Terrigal people obviously as well, and obviously plenty of Avoca people wanted to chat to me, which is normally unusual. But yeah, mate, I thought it was an outstanding game. I thought it was a game that it was an un-Avoca-like performance of what we've seen over in the last few years. They were calm, they were composed, and they were actually it's almost like they knew what they needed to do to win now.
Yep.
And I knew personally when I was watching them, as soon as they've taken that first kick for goal, I've gone, they're on here. They want to get points, and we spoke about it in the broadcast about applying pressure. And I was, even when I'm reviewing and thinking about how I'm going to speak about the game, how many times did Terrigal turn down the opportunity for two or three opportunities inside probably 40 metres that are kickable kicks?
Yep.
And they went for the lineouts, which sometimes were good, sometimes were not. And I thought, I had a really good chat with Michael Farrelly, the Terrigal coach, after the match, and he very well knew what they were up for, and he was almost like expecting that sort of performance by Avoca, which is, I guess, hats off to his astute coaching, knowing what was sort of coming that way. And the best way I could describe it is Avoca Beach owned the 3 metres either side of the tackle contest. And so with that, Terrigal just went through the motions, and all of a sudden they're not making the advantage line; they're actually starting to go backwards. And then with that comes a little bit of confidence, and you got to think about it too. Terrigal was absolutely smashing the set piece. Avoca scrum was at 6s and 7s, and tight heads are coming, and Terrigal were dominating many facets of play, but they just couldn't get beyond, the advantage on a lot of occasions. Picking and going, and Avoca were just eating them up. It was a really good game, and I hate this analogy, but it was a really good game on effort, and commitment. And I think Avoca Beach's effort and commitment was at a higher level than Terrigal's.
I think Copper Elliott personified that with just charging at just above the kneecap and just chopping down everybody, just consistently the whole time.
To be fair, that's Copper standing up.
What about when Sam Kenny had hide him? It seems like, mate, I'm tackling around my hip. I've got him in the head.
He had a cracker match, old Copper Elliott. I tell you what, big shout out to the one of the nicest human beings still playing rugby at 157 years old in Odie. Emil Thomas played in a seaside battle with his young son Lockie, who's a young up and coming back rower who's not a bad footballer, and his old man just led from the front.
Yeah,
watch me, son, and here we go. And whilst he's certainly not as nimble as he used to be. He keeps the tighter channels. A couple of those Terrigal blokes were dumb enough to run at him.
You can't.
No, I mean, it's not too difficult. You just run a metre or so either side of him. He can't get to you. You don't run anywhere near him. He'll knock 3 shades of shit out of you, and he knocked 3 shades of shit out of half the Terrigal forward pack, thinking, I'll run at this old prick. And he's just absolutely annoying him. Turned back the clock. He had a great game.
Great day for him, though, with his young boy.
Yeah, congratulations to him. I think you'll see a a lot of confidence from the Avoca Beach side coming out of that, and I think you'll also see a smarter Terrigal next time they meet.
Yeah.
And to quote the great Danielle Theron from the Lakes, you don't win the game in June, you don't win the competition in June. But what a great day.
Words.
Absolutely outstanding.
And for Terrigal, they got to buy, and then they host the Razorbacks at home.
Yeah.
So this will be a bit of fuel for them.
Just want to quickly shout out too, just the smarts of Avoca Beach taking the points and the importance of it from time to time, and just how correct my call was in the 38th minute.
That was ridiculous. So if you're at the game or you just didn't watch it, because I don't know how many people would have watched the coverage after some of the dribble thrown out.
They won't watch it again.
I think Fionn kicked a goal. I don't know what the score would have been, but it might have been something along the lines of like 23-10 or something. Does that sound about right? Anyway, something along the lines of that. And there was like half an hour to go. And Barthy goes, if Fionn kicks this, they win the game. He's calling it like that. And then Fionn kicks it, and Terrigal just start coming back. I'm like, this is the mock from hell.
At one point, I think it might have been 21.
Yeah.
I think it was 22-21. Terrigal were leading. Yeah. And I might have cried a bit early here. But I know my shit, mate.
Yeah, you do.
And,
you do. They got home.
And Avoca went on to win. And hopefully Halsey gets a hold of us, because we've tried to get him on to have a chat with him about that wonderful try. There's a bit of slow-mo of going around, slow-mo of him scoring the try, and just the joy and adulation. But do
you know what I loved is when he scored the try, the Terrigal sideline was dead quiet, and then you just hear one person yell out, "Can someone get the ground marshal on the field?" And the whole crowd celebrating and jumping the barricade. That's such a good comment.
Well, one of the great days. Well done to everyone.
Awesome.
Good stuff. That's the results of the round for the gentlemen.
Let's get on to the women's, eh?
Let's have a look at the women's. Some interesting results.
All right. Start with I was about to say I'd start with the floggings, but
they're all a bit all over shop.
They're all floggings. Hornsby beat Woy Woy 46 points to 5. So a big win there by Hornsby. Was about to say, if your last name's not Rogers, you're not scoring. But so Rebecca Rogers gets 3, Annabelle Rogers gets 3, and also Angela Ashley gets 1, and Tiana Davenport gets 1. Name withheld. Strong display for Woy Woy, gets their 1 try.
Well done. Oh, look, it's good to see the Woy Woy women competing, getting out there. It's better result than the week before, I believe, or similar. But they're out there doing their best and competing. And obviously we know the potential and the quality of those Hornsby women. So that's not a bad performance, all things considered.
Yep, I agree with that. And again, it's not 28-0, which is what we're pushing for. And Woy Woy's numbers are growing. They had 15 at training the other night, which is really positive.
How good.
And again, you've got to go through those times of, being down on numbers and have that core group, and that's what inspires other people. So even though the results aren't there, we're seeing with a couple of clubs, we just need to really get around them to try and, push it forward. And eventually those players will come around and that'll be a competitive outfit. But the main thing for them is the numbers at the moment. And the numbers were there on Saturday, which is awesome. Second game, mate. We thought this would be a bit tighter. Razorbacks putting the boot into Warnervale, 49 points to 15.
Thought it'd be a little bit tighter, but also not surprised by the growth of the Razorbacks. That Razorback women's side, they've really come along in leaps and bounds this year, and they've had a couple of lean years and a couple of tough years, and we know they combined with Carrong last year to keep the fuel and to keep the numbers going, and this year you're seeing the rewards for the hard work over the last few years, and that's coming in some good quality performances. And I guess we're starting to see the difference now between the sides, and so outstanding. Well done to Razorbacks. A great victory and an important one for their for and against, and also their standing on the ladder to try and consolidate or keep themselves up in those third or fourth positions.
April Radford gets a duple. Shani Mason.
Killing it.
Have you seen this? Scored a hat-trick, kicked 7 from 7.
No mucking about.
Freak. Absolute freak. In the last game, mate, keep saying it, my favourite fixture, well, it was an absolute fizzer this week. Trojans absolutely pumped the Sharks, 50 points to 7. Different game to what we're used to.
Yeah.
Avoca looked like they were missing a little bit of experience, but Terrigal were just so clinical. Avoca just had absolutely no answer. It was only Taylor Welsh really that just could split him at one point to get a try, and that was really it.
Yeah,
it was just Shanae Ball was on absolute fire. Her fend was just
she's playing some good rugby. Maddie Robson in and around with the ball in two hands is also good.
Sharon George, as soon as she gets into space, just
it was in no way, shape, or form am I going to diminish the performance by the Terrigal Trojan women. It was absolutely outstanding. There's no doubt about that, and you don't score 50 points by luck. You do it by determination, skill level, and basically, for lack of a better term, keeping the foot on the throat. Just playing the entire 80 minutes of the match. But for those who were unaware, Shani Waters didn't play. Young Staben was at representative schools level, and so they had a few of their big guns out. But having said that, that's why you have squads, and that's why you have big squads.
Yeah.
And it was a really good opportunity for some of those younger girls to get exposed to the best team in the competition in the Trojans, and I think some of those younger vocal women would have learned a fair bit. But it was an absolute clinical performance by the Terrigal Trojan women. I really enjoyed watching them play, and I enjoyed the fact that they didn't give up. They didn't sort of take it easy, and they played for the entire 80 minutes of the match, and as always, the sportswomanship in the game, and the athleticism, the skill level, and the brute force was outstanding. So I thought it was a great game. I thought it was a really enjoyable game. I thought, the scoreline obviously is great for Terrigal, but I don't think the Terrigal women will be getting too excited over it.
No.
And I think they're learning from that, and so a blip on the radar, I think, for the Avoca Beach side, but another step towards a hopeful premiership for the Terrigal Trojan women. Outstanding performance. Quick shout out to Supermum.
That's what I was about to add.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, Prue Bright, 50 games for the Trojans. Outstanding achievement. Obviously, had a bit of time off having a bub and then straight back into it.
Yeah.
She was outstanding in the country champs as well. I did see a moment. I was going to clip it up for the socials as well. She goes into a ruck and the referee on the other side and just a dirty hand in there and just peels the ball back on that side. And I was like, this is the greatest thing ever, but it got called. I wish it didn't get called. I wish it didn't get picked up on it because it was absolutely outstanding. Cheating at its finest.
And one thing too, I think needs to be acknowledged by how good a rugby player Prue is. She played that game and played most of the games this year with one eye. It's outstanding, because the other one's got to be watching Steve on the sideline, her husband, look after their child. I mean, that bloke
Steve watch a child.
He cannot be trusted to look after a little human being. And so poor old Prue's got to play one-eyed. But anyway, well done, Prue. You're an outstanding human being and rugby player.
Also, shout out to mother-daughter, Sarah Lufay, Emily Lufay, playing together on the weekend again. Awesome to see, as always. Well, that is the women's. Let's go over the table, actually.
Yeah, do that.
Terrigal in first place on 40 points. Avoca in second on 35. Lakes in third on 24 points. Razorbacks in fourth on 23. Hornsby in fifth on 20. Warnervale in sixth on 15. And Warnervale named Woy Woy last.
Can you give me third and fourth again, please?
Lakes on 24.
Yep.
Razorbacks on 23.
And Hornsby in fifth
20.
on 20. So the one win separates those three sides.
Correct. Lakes have played 9, Razorbacks have played 10, Hornsby have played 8. So Hornsby probably in the best position, or they've played the least amount of games.
Yeah. We'll see who they've got to play, but all tight, all exciting. Lots to look forward to in the second half of the competition.
Let's go on to the men's. First place, so I did announce this incorrectly, actually. Terrigal, because of bonus points, still stay in first place on 35.
Yep.
Avoca in second on 34. Razorbacks third on 31. Gosford in fourth on 24. Warnervale fifth on 21. Hornsby sixth on 14. Lakes seventh on 12. Woy Woy eighth with 7. And then Lake Macquarie yet to register a point.
And again, we have one win difference between first, second, and third in the Premier 1 competition. How good?
So I still feel like it's a top 5 competition.
Yep.
For the men's. but we've got 7 points that separate Hornsby and Warnervale. So we'll see how that kind of eventuates. But that is Warnervale. Like, I think there's a definitely difference between Gosford and Hornsby, but Warnervale just not getting. You'd hope that if there's an upset later on in the year, you'd hope for Warnervale that Hornsby aren't really creeping in there. But
yeah. Well, it all bodes well for the second half of the competition, which we're about to roll into.
We'll leave it in there.
I hope so. That'll be fantastic.
Just me struggling to reach forward.
Hey, I tell you what, let's cover off on a couple of juniors who have been going outstandingly well in the representative. We just obviously had our country championships last weekend. And I just want to give a quick shout out to, our 16s and 14-year age division girls winning the country championship. Big ups. Well done, ladies. Outstanding performance. Future's looking good in the women's. But also, too, the under-14 boys getting up and winning the country championship as well. Outstanding performance. Yeah, it's good stuff, isn't it?
So hopefully the juniors are looking bright.
Yep.
With coming through. I know the numbers are pretty good around there as well. So hopefully we can do as much as we possibly can to bring them through because they are the future. We are in a good spot at the moment in terms of we haven't come from the best in terms of numbers in recent years with juniors. We haven't come from the best spot. But we are coming up to a World Cup with a lot of things happening around Australian rugby. So hopefully this can be the start of a real big push. And obviously success helps that a lot.
Yeah. Just want to also shout out to 4 of our junior referees were given grand final honours in the country championships. So that's an outstanding wrap on the junior referee program that they've got running here on the Central Coast. So a lot of good things happening to try and, I guess, bolster the quality and quantity of players and officials.
Well done.
It was, yeah, it was.
Let's get on to round 10. All right, let's start off with.
Hang on, before we get on to round 10.
Sure.
And we're talking about referees.
Yep.
For the, I was never going to remember anyway, but the exchange program of the referees we had over from New Zealand for this weekend.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that now.
Yeah, that was. I thought it was what a great initiative.
Yeah.
And through the referee socials, I think we shared it. We sent over a couple of our young refs who went over and did some club rugby over there in New Zealand, and just. It's one of the great things about rugby and the doors it opens. And you can travel the world and you'll always find a place to play rugby. Someone will look after you with something to eat and a job. And the exchange program with the refs I thought was really good. The referee who did the Terrigal Avoca match, I thought he did.
Nigel.
Nigel. I thought he was outstanding. I thought he did a really good job. The point of difference too of being a different referee. I think a lot of the players also just shut their mouths and got on with it instead of that sort of familiarity of, he always picks on us or he always does this. They just let the referee the game.
Yeah.
And by no surprise, the actual game was better because of it. You know what I mean? There was a couple of times the arms were wailing, but not as much as they normally do, you know. So great initiative. I don't know who did it. Let's give Tony Rudd the accolades for it. Good on you, Ruddy.
I think Lenny might have had something to do with it, I think.
Yeah, stuff, Lenny. We're giving it all to Ruddy. Good on you, Ruddy.
It was awesome to have that. And so every Premier 1 game on the weekend was ref by a different ref, whether it was from Illawarra or over in counties in New Zealand as well. So that exchange program, obviously awesome. And we got a bit of feedback from the Razorbacks as well. The referee they had was awesome. Yeah, it was really good as well.
We'll make sure they encourage everyone from the Razorbacks or club officials. Provide that positive feedback to the Referees Association of how much they enjoyed it. And, good stuff. Well done.
All right. I should be prepared for this part, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
All right. Round 10, mate. So, on to the women's. Razorbacks hosting Woy Woy.
Razorbacks
as well.
Yep.
Let's hope Woy Woy can build with some more numbers.
Well, Erina do have a train station.
They do. That applies to the men's, though. Not the women's.
All right.
But I don't know if it applies to the men's anymore, so we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Hornsby host Terrigal at Hornsby's number 2 oval, which is the Gosford rugby field.
So we're obviously talking about the women's here.
We're talking about the women's, yes. As stated previously.
Yeah.
Let's get into the women's.
Yep. I'll tell you, Terrigal just need to be a little bit careful that they don't go into the match flat after a big performance against the Avoca Beach side. So I don't think they will. They're a smart bunch of women who play an outstanding brand of rugby. So I think it's going to be a tough day for Hornsby. I think it'll be another good test for Hornsby to see where they are. They've put in some pretty strong, some better performances against the higher ranked sides of late. So good opportunity for them, but I think it's going to be a tough day.
I agree with you on that one. Trojans for me. And the last game, Avoca host the Lakes.
Lakes, here's your chance.
Oh, I thought you're tipping Lakes. Are you tipping Lakes?
Here's your chance. I mean,
this is 2v3.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for Lakes. Avoca Beach will be a little bit vulnerable.
Will they still be vulnerable? Do you know if players are still there?
I know there's definitely a couple of players. Pri Lama's overseas.
Yeah.
I think Shani Witt is overseas with her at the moment. Chatting to Fuzz, their coach. Summer Witt.
Yeah.
Sorry. Chatting with Fuzz, but getting just a quick side story, right? So I go to.
It's never a quick side story.
Yeah, I know. I go over to getting prepared to call the game, and I go over to Fuzz, the coach of the Avoca Beach side, and I said, "Oh, mate, are you girls as per program as what they're listed in?" And he laughed. He says, "No, you have to go see Freddie, the manager." Oh, bloody hell, right? They go see Freddie. He just opens the bag and the girls get whatever jumper they like or fits them the best. So I'm madly trying to write down names to numbers and all that sort of stuff. And that's when I was chatting to Fuzz, and I said, "Oh, where's Shani? Where's a few of the different girls?" And that's where he told me that a few out. So I don't think they're going to be back, but I also don't think Avoca Beach will put in a performance like they did on the weekend. But I'm really encouraging the Lakes women here because here's a red hot opportunity to jump on, and if there's any time Avoca Beach have a little bit of weakness, it's probably about now. So I think there's a good chance that Lakes women they'll be competitive. There's no doubt about that. Will they win? I don't know, but it will be bloody good. I'll stick with the Sharks, but
you wouldn't be. There's a chance. There's a sniff.
There's a chance of an upset, but I wouldn't really call it much of an upset, if that makes sense. Sharks, though. Sharks for me.
I'll stick with the Sharks just in case they have a couple of back. I still think there's too much class and they're too strong. And I think the scoreline on the weekend, I don't think even think a full strength Sharks on the weekend, to be fair, would have struggled against that, how Terrigal played. I thought they were outstanding. So Sharks are me. So Razorbacks host Woo, Hornsby host Terrigal at Gosford, and Avoca host the Lakes. Warnervale are the team with the bye. On to the men's for round 10. Razorbacks host Woo on a train line, but I don't know it matters anymore. I think that a couple of the players that Woo recruited this year, they didn't play on the weekend. I don't know if they're playing moving forward. I'm unsure whether that's a good thing or not for the club and the culture.
Yeah, right.
Remains to be seen.
A bit of mail there, perhaps.
Bit of mail there, but what is exciting, and it's kind of goes, I suppose, of what's happening with the girls as well, struggling for numbers in both grades, but the dedication is there.
Yeah,
and that's really important if you're going to get a club back together. You've got to have a group of sort of 25, 30 guys that are going to be there every Tuesday and Thursday and are going to be playing on the weekend. Yeah. And that's what attracts those players to then come in that have that higher end skill. And there's still players around that can come into the fold. So, but they don't really want to come into a club that's rebels. And I think that's the foundation's definitely there for Woo at the moment. But
yeah, good.
Razorbacks for me, and I think they'll win well as well.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
Terrigal had the bye this weekend. Warnervale host Lake Macquarie.
Warnervale will win here. I'd like to see a disciplined performance by them, and it's easier to play discipline when you're dominating, but it's a mindset that needs to change, I think, for the Wildcats a little bit. And so, yeah, Wildcats by plenty.
Yep, I'm with you on that one. And Avoca host Lakes.
Well,
two more games, sorry. Avoca host Lakes.
Well, Avoca will be flying after their win. They've got to make sure they keep that momentum going. I had a bit of a chat with Mitch McGrath afterwards, and by all reports, he said to the Avoca Beach side after the match in the change rooms, and whilst everyone was happy, there was also an acknowledgement that it's June and nothing's happened yet. Obviously they've won the Seaside Derby.
It's exciting, isn't it? Yeah. I don't think you would have had that last year.
No. Yeah. So I still think there's always a bit of an emotional hangover after a big win, and I just don't see the Lakes. The Lakes just aren't there at the moment in their performances so far this year. So I might try and stick my head down to have a look at this game. But I think Avoca Beach will win the match.
I think Avoca will win well.
Yeah,
I think this will be a big win for Avoca. On the back of last week.
Sorry, I was just going to say, hopefully, and I'm not sure when the players get removed from country, but a couple of young Lakes players got selected in country who are normally in their grade side, so they desperately need them to play.
Well, Hutchinson Walters he's the back line, or at least controls the back line. He's so solid in wherever he's going to play in that back line. So he's outstanding. In the last game, mate, Gosford host Hornsby.
This will be a good game. This will be a very good game.
I feel an upset here.
Yeah.
I feel an upset. But I'm also too gutless to tip it.
It just Hornsby is so bloody hard to pick. You know, they put in really competitive performances and well, mate, Gosford have knocked off Warnervale. They've come off a big victory against Lake Macquarie. I think they're humming. I think they're going okay. I agree with you. A Hornsby victory wouldn't be overly surprising, but I tell you what, a Hornsby victory would be devastating for the Red Devils season. Devastating is getting a bit carried away there. It would be a very big bump in the road if they were to lose, just with how tight the competition is.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really, really important game for the Red Devils to win, to consolidate that sort of top, fourth or fifth spot. Very, very important for them, and they'll win.
You on Gosford?
I'll go Gosford. They're Gosford are hosting, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah. I'll go Gosford.
Yeah, I'll stick with you. I'll go Gosford. Wouldn't surprise me though.
Didn't want to though. Did you hear that, Red Devils?
No, I really don't. It's just Carl. It's a sponsor's word. It's what it is right now. I'm selling myself out to Carl right now. I go, better tip him. Better tip with him. I think Gosford will get up in a tight one. But I think Hornsby are flying though at the moment. Well, that's the games. Razorbacks host Wee Wee, Warnervale host Lake Macquarie, Avoca host the Lakes, Gosford host Hornsby.
Well, Bern, I just want to give a quick shout out to the crowd who gave us a lot of love at the Battle of the Beaches. We had a ton of positive feedback, which was awesome, and people really appreciating what we're doing, which is awesome. You can show your appreciation by getting behind Gus and the team in Erina Podiatry and Carl from Exquisite Exterior Cleaning, the guys who reach into their pockets to sponsor the podcast, and also allowed us to get and launch our ginger beer coolers. So when we're out and about, we'll have them with us, and there'll be bits and pieces to give away to raise the profile of the game as we continue on. But no, I was really appreciative of people getting involved in the socials, shouting out to us while we're doing some commentary as well, and just generally the really good atmosphere and the community spirit that we experienced at the Battle of the Beaches too. So it was great, and it was good.
I've got one last thing.
Yeah.
I was watching a show. It's another side note. Watching a show over the weekend, and it was basically about.
Is this for B&B After Dark?
This is for B&B After Dark. This is why it's at the end of the show. Hopefully the kids have gone to bed. And it was basically people that were just digging up old shit and selling it and everything, all these relics. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'll go through my stuff and see if I've got anything lying around or whatever.
Yeah.
And I did find a program from the 2009. I can't even remember now. I've only got the photo of it. 2009?
2009
or 2011? It's got to be 2009.
Over 10 years ago.
It's over 10 years ago. I think it's
12, 13, 14 years ago.
Yeah, it would be. I found the program for the reps, and I was just looking through the name. It's just that nostalgia of because this is now the era, or the Colts that went through then. This is now the era of players that are retiring, and then the seniors that were played in that, they've probably retired 3 or 4 years ago and are now some of your third graders. And it was just a bit of a trip down memory lane. So I thought I'd read out the names. So
this is for the Colts? Or?
This is for the Colts, then I'll get into the seniors.
Okay.
So coaches, Ray Bowden, Dale Winslow, Peter Fenton, the manager. So the front row was Junior Paulo from North Lakes, Sam Carney from Terrigal.
Yep.
I'd like to make note of that.
I remember those days, Sam.
Kevin McNamara from Warnervale. Tyler Jones from Rimba. Phil Hurd, Kane Burns, Hugo so back row, Kane Burns, Hugo Pike, Blake Sylvester.
Hang on, just gave certainly that. Just gave her that forward pack again.
Junior Paulo, Sam Carney, Kevin McNamara.
Front row, outstanding.
Second row, Tyler Jones, Phil Hurd.
Country players.
Back row, Kane Burns, Hugo Pike, Blake Sylvester. Your 9-10 was Julian Bakagalupo. Everyone called him Bruv. That's the reason, because that's a difficult name to pronounce. Your 10 was Jack Mann. Your wings were Ethan Sant and Lachlan Gulliver. Your centers were Chris Brady and Mitch Clay. Your fullback was Patrick Quigg. On the bench, you had Tyson Boys, Nathan Gow, Callum Mead, Isaac Blowers, Logan Homopo, Sean Davies, Jack Denny, Matt Davies, Ben Gillies, and Jason Foster.
How good. What a bloody 19 side that was. The 20s, whatever it was. 19s, 20s?
19s, yeah.
19s,
don't know. Could have been, or depending on what year it was even.
A lot of good rugby players in that side.
Over to the seniors. So the coaches, Scott Barth and Carl Von Kotz.
Hey, the great Kotzer.
Manager, John Kenny. Physio.
JK, great man.
Yeah. John Ruzica.
Bazooka. Johnny Bazooka was his.
Bazooka.
Yeah, that was his nickname.
Medical officer, Bruce Sinclair. Bruiser.
Bruiser. Mate, Bruiser caused more medical injuries than he should do.
Oh, mate, do you know, he strapped my ankle so tight one time at Rimba Rugby Park at the pig pen, so tight that it cut. And then I got a staph infection because it's like the Rimba Rugby Park is built on top of a tip. I got a staph and fully messed me up for a couple of weeks because I couldn't walk on it. Everything had pus coming out of my feet. It was disgusting. And Bruiser goes, "Oh, I probably just strapped it too tight." You think so, mate?
That's why they call it the pig pen. I'm surprised Bruiser didn't try and strap it back up for you. You're right. We'll just strap it in there.
No, you're right. Right. Seniors front row.
Just before you get the players. He's a great man, old Bruiser.
He is.
I've seen him for a while. Actually.
Absolutely love him. Would chew your ear off all day about the Tigers. Mad Tigers fan. Seniors, front row, Luke Sheridan, Matthew Rapoama, Shannon Bevan.
There you go. Good.
Second row, Luke Hennig, Peter Steele.
Does it say where they're from?
Yep.
So this might rock a few listeners.
Yeah.
Was that the Luke Henning from the entrance or the Luke Henning from Gossard? I think it was from Gossard.
It was the Gossard version.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The back row is Sonny Tato, Brett Marchant, Emil Thomas.
I'm going to tell a story about that back row in a sec. Keep going.
9-10.
Yeah.
Sam 40, Adam Carlisle. Your wings, Tom Murphy, David Von Kotzer. Your 12-13 was Tim Hill and Josh McGlynn, and Dennis Raft was the 15.
There we go. It's not a bad side.
Your bench.
Few blokes made country from that team.
Yeah. Your bench. I think we just lost a little bit of lights. All right. Brett Cunningham, Luke Sarevi, Eddie Marlowe, Tom Russell, Scott Hanley, Dave Crawford, Matt Maloney, Jordan Deves, Chris Marchant, Matthew Everard.
Hey, what a
That's
bench.
a side, eh?
That's a stack. How good.
When I was looking through that, I'm like, that is just all-star. That is an all-star team.
We took a team away up to the Foster 10s and just as a bit of a sort of warm up before the country champs and that sort of stuff. And we went up and fortuitous for us. I can't think of the club now. They were blue and white. I remember that much. But a Brisbane side came down as a bit of a tour, and one of the big Brisbane clubs came down to play, and I think they thought, here's some easy cash here. We'll come down and win the tournament. They didn't. They came up against us, and we gave them a bit of a towel up, which was brilliant. Or we beat them anyway. But what sticks in my head, like the sound of the contact of two bodies being hit, and Odie, Emil Thomas, and the other back row, I can't think of his name.
Sonny Tato?
Yeah, Sonny. Both lined up this one bloke trying to be sneaky down the short side.
Yeah. And
but they had I guess probably about 4 or 5 minutes on him head start to build up speed. And the bloke got hit that bad, I immediately worried for his welfare. Yeah, like seriously, he got absolutely freaking walloped. and the sound, I can still hear it. And it hasn't happened all that often in the game, and I've been around the game for a long time. I immediately feared for someone's welfare after Sonny and Odie just fucking knocked 3 shades of shit out of this bloke. It was outstanding. We went on, and here's just a brilliant thing about those guys and Kotzer and Carl and everyone involved in that rep squad. We won the tournament, and I think we might have won $1,500.
Mm.
And the first thing Carl and I just said, well, let's go back on the bar and we give it straight back to the community of the Foster rugby community, and that's what you got to do. You know what I mean? We had no plans of sort of looking after money ourselves, so we just put it straight on the bar. They thought it was brilliant. Every club that was still hanging around for the speeches thought it was fantastic, and it was just a really good reminder of how good rugby was or is. That was a fair while ago, but yeah,
it's a good weekend away. Lismore, wasn't it?
That year, I can't remember because we went to Lismore a couple of times, like for first games or second games. That might have been the Lismore tour. I can't remember. A long time ago.
Yeah, that was my stroll down there. I was just looking at the name.
Well done.
I sat there for so long, just go, oh, how good is that? Like, I wonder what he's doing these days. Just all these players, and obviously some of them sort of still in and around, but there's a couple that you just haven't heard of in so long. You're playing against that player.
Yeah, and there's a few guys there, especially in that 19s team, that I'm not sure why they didn't go on and keep playing or what the story was. But yeah, mate, outstanding. Dig through. See, actually, you know what? Throw it out there. Anyone in the socials, if you come across any of those old bits and pieces, send us through a snippet, a photo. Any stories you got, we might get you on. We can have a history segment every now and then.
But it's so good. I even remember Kevin McNamara it was the first time I saw a man child, because we had like all the bunk beds and everything around there. And I remember everyone was getting ready to go out in the pit, not on the piss, and he's just, protein to water and the shaker and just sitting there at the end of his bed, just ready to be a protein shake.
He was committed.
Oh, mate, so committed.
Well, I coached Kevy in the senior rep side, so that might have been 09.
I think it would have been 09. It makes sense to be 09.
Yeah. But what a great rugby player Kevy was.
Yeah.
A lot of good rugby players there. So there we go. There's a challenge for you, people. Let's the B&B History Channel. We might he might chuck out a few things. If you find an old bit of gear, a photo, whatever, send it through here to us at the podcast here through our socials. We might even get you on to tell the story. So well done, Bernard. That was awesome.
Thanks, mate.
I'll see if I can find something at home.
Yours might be a bit older than that, I think. Is that it?
Yeah, I think so, mate. That'll do, eh?
Awesome. It's nice to be in the studio.
It is. It's been very good.
There's going to be less audio issues through this week.
Can't guarantee the same thing next week, but we'll see how we go.
Not at all. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. See ya.